Alright, so this is gonna be it. Hopefully the last time I do this take. I've been having so many issues with my previous phone. It no longer apparently has a functioning camera, so I'm using a different one. So here we go. This is the infamous Ape Escape game that is like impossible to play on these Mayu or non-analog game consoles. So how the hell do you play this game? How do you play it? As you can see, certain things in the game require analog stick capability. Now, if you don't have actual analog sticks, they might become a lot harder to do, such as the boat. I'm not saying you can't use the boat in the game, but you will struggle with it. But thankfully, the boat isn't like such a huge part of the gameplay that it's minor anyway. You may never actually go into the boat and use it. So it should be a thing I can do here. But anyway, let's concentrate on what is. Let's get out there. Alright. I thought this was a special thing I could do up here. There's nothing. Yeah, I have rowed the boat even without the analog capability. I've kind of just figured out how to row the boat to get through the boat level. It's a little tedious, but it's not impossible. So I'm gonna just explain everything. I provided the remap file in the description. You can download it and then put it into the RetroArch folder where the remap files are located. And then you open this up and you're able to go to your controls menu here, manage remap files, and load remap file, which would be one of the remap files available. After that, you're gonna have to just save remap, well, right now it says remove game remap file, but it'll say save game remap file so that you can save it permanently. You won't have to change it every time. Also, what's important is that this button be mapped to, right now I have two options for gadgets, and that you lose the other gadgets options because they don't exist anymore. You're not going to be able to hit square and the circle, so that's the only option you have. It's really just to kind of map two, which is still, you can beat the game with just being able to switch between the two weapons, because ultimately you can just open the menu and make, get any weapon you want and map it at your leisure, and then you can capture the apes with the net afterwards. And you're gonna need this first person mode, so I've kept that map to L2. L1 is your camera refocus button. Anytime you move in a direction, you can refocus the camera, so you don't really need the D-pad camera controls from the original game. So how do you get this button to become just change it from the menu button to being an ordinary controller button? It's a little bit complicated, but basically you go to settings and go to input. Here you'll see the hotkeys buttons. Hotkeys is how RetroArch does all the hotkeys things. I've actually took off all the hotkeys. I disabled enabling the hotkeys. So do that. And then menu toggle is going to be mapped to this button. So anytime you press this, it brings up the RetroArch menu. Sounds reasonable, but not going with that. what I find hilarious is that they actually do have like the combo button for like the menu toggle, right? Now they don't have combo buttons for mapping controller buttons. Say you do want to just press 2 buttons in order to activate start or select or something like that, so that you could do a combo thing. You can't do it. So it's kind of hilarious. Well, yeah, you have the option here to turn L2 R2 into the menu toggle button, which I'll demonstrate. Yeah, you just press L2 R2 at the same time and it opens the menu. Nothing in the game requires you to press L2 R2 at the same time, so it doesn't affect the gameplay. When I mapped it to start and select, it was kind of like weird, like especially for like, I don't know what it was, but something was going way off with that. So I just mapped it back to L2 R2. Once you've taken off the controls for this button and it's no longer mapped to anything, you actually can then map the button by going in here, and like you have a bunch of choices. You can map, I mapped it to R3, but realistically you can map it to any button that's free. Like nothing is taken, you can map it to that. So right now R3 has no mapping, so I just put it to R3. And you go into quick menu again, controls, port 1 controls, and it's already mapped in my config file, but this is what I did. I mapped the R3 button to be the triangle button, so that anytime you hit that, it activates anything in the triangle. And that's pretty straightforward. The only button that you can't map to anything on here, I was trying to see if I could maybe turn it into some kind of other button, maybe the volume or something, or even do something like I have a combo button. This RetroArch does not have combos except for the menu. So for that, whenever you need to do like stuff like swimming, there's controls for swimming in the game, right? There's the pool. So you go into the pool and you can shoot the net at the monkeys inside of the water. But at some point you're gonna have to dive down. So that just means you have to go in here, go down to the R3 button that I've mapped for the R shoulder, press left, and that's it. Exit the menu, and now you have the ability to dive. Go down to the bottom if you want. That's how you do that. And that button also is like that button's also for crawling. If you want to crawl and stuff like that, you gotta just change it to that. But I never crawl in this game. I think there's a tutorial level where you have to do a crawl just to show you what crawl is. Other than that, I don't crawl. I've caught as many monkeys without crawling, so it's not something that I generally do. And turn it to L3. And it doesn't have any control anymore because the L3 doesn't do crawl. R3 does the crawl. So if you still want to do the crawl, you change it to that, and you can crawl. But I keep it at R3 most of the time. Only if I need to dive down into the water for some reason, I'll change it to L3. Most of the game, as I've played it all the way to the final boss, I've done it without needing to do the dive. The only time you're gonna dive, I think, is like some water level where you have to actually dive down. But simple, straightforward thing. Just change it back. Yep, I've actually beaten the final boss in the game and gotten that far. I have not 100%ed it. I know there's a lot still to do, a lot more monkeys to catch, but yeah, it's just and there's there's another boss battle at the end, so I'll get to that one. I've watched a video of it, and it is tricky. There's gonna be moments where you have to jump and use the helicopter thing to just keep yourself alive and all of that. and that's really tough on this this device, because it's hard to activate. It's hard to activate this thing, but you know, a little bit of practice and you'll figure out how to get it going pretty quickly. You know, it eventually goes once you smash it enough. The one that does not go, no matter how hard you smash it, this one, I can show you how hard it is right now. I mean, this is like, is differently programmed than that one. You have to do the hula motion, right? And after you do it enough times, it eventually goes. But there's moments, and there's one part of the game that I had where I had to activate the hula really quickly and get up a ramp and get a monkey, and I took a lot of time to figure that one out. And I think I only did it because of luck, I'll be honest. But it's not impossible to get the hula hoop activated and do the maneuver. It's just, you got to do it similar to that and just hope that it goes. You're not gonna have a guarantee. Not impossible though. And I think I covered everything. So that's it. Like, this is how you're gonna be able to actually play Ape Escape on this console, or the V90 Fat, the Flip Zizzle, the Rg35xxsp. You know, which is the same thing, pretty much same control schemes. I find these buttons to actually be a lot easier to activate the twirly-copter toy and things on. These ones are a lot more coarse and difficult to slide your thumb over. And then of course you have this. This is just a faster, better console, so everything works faster. The save state works faster. Game runs faster. And of course, it's a big, chunky kind of thing, but it gets the job done. For anyone who's worried about like the lack of analog sticks and not being able to enjoy Ape Escape on one of these, your worries are over. I've worked for weeks now, I suppose, on carefully crafting the controls and playing through the game to get to the point of understanding how to do it on one of these. And thanks to that person on Reddit who actually gave me inspiration to try with their post about them getting Ape Escape to run on the Mayu console without analogs. Because I was kind of like, you know, really like unhappy with the fact that I could get the game to run so well, but not actually play it. And I've never actually beaten Ape Escape in my life, so this was a lot of fun to actually go through level after level and just experiment and figure out how to use all the weapons and finally be able to get out. But yeah, everything is here. You don't have to be like, you know, you can't do certain things. Everything's possible. You can, if you put your mind to it. George McFly, you know. So get out there and catch some damn dirty apes.